Good afternoon, good afternoon. It's Kate Caruth here, your content alchemist with some content gold on a Wednesday lunchtime. Answering more of your questions about content and content creation and suffering slightly from a piece of fringe that really won't go in the right direction. One of those things that just drives you crazy from time to time. But yes, so this week, this month, the question that is on everybody's lips when it comes to content is, how much is it going to cost me? And it's a perfectly reasonable question, because while it is wonderful to have somebody else take the burden of content off you, everything has its price, and time is money in the content creation industry. So I can give you ballpark figures. When someone comes to me and says, how much will it cost me? I can always give a ballpark. But it's not as simple as saying, here is our fixed price. So let me break down the process, explain how it all works, and then that'll give you an idea about why I can't just say, this is the price on the spot. So first of all, we have to understand your business and you and what you're trying to achieve with your content. So we might be asking you questions like, who's your audience? What matters to them? Why are they looking for you? At what point in your process will they be consuming this content? Are they brand new to your business? Do they already know you and have a relationship? Those sorts of questions are the ones that we will be asking to understand you and your business. What that then does is allow us to create a brief, which is what we use as our internal tool, but then also actually do the costing for you. That conversation happens before we start working for you. So we're going into quite a bit of detail. Sometimes it'll be about understanding the scope of the project as well. Am I writing one page for your website? Are we talking about regular blogging? Those are two very different animals, and therefore the pricing and the way we cost them and the way we actually engage with you on Business Go Away Fringe will be quite different. So next, we might need to do some research. Again, depends on what you want. In some cases, you're going to give us all of the information up front because you know it best and you can just talk to us and tell us. In other cases, we actually need to go out and find some background information and do some research. So we might need to interview a technical expert, or we might need to go online. We might need to get somebody to do us keywords if you want SEO optimized content. All of those pieces need to happen. Only then can we start writing. So using the creative brief, drawing on the research, we will now create a first draft. And here's the funny thing about costing, and this is the reason why it's often not very straightforward to just say, it's this much. So you might think, okay, well, this many words takes this many minutes. So that's my straight line for costing. 500 words takes about 2.5 hours to write. Yeah, except 250 words does not take half the time that 500 takes. It takes a bit more than that, because the shorter the content, the more brief, the more succinct, and the more time it takes to get the content spot on and just right. So that's one factor that affects the pricing. So in other words, how long you want a piece to be reduces the time per word, if you like. Once we've written, we edit. I've talked about this before with creative words. We have what we call a 2 pairs of eyes rule. So somebody writes it, somebody else reviews it to make sure it's just right. They're using the creative brief as well to make sure that makes sense. Now, editing is more of a straight line, and often you'll find if you go direct to an editor, they can charge by the word or charge by the page, because it doesn't matter whether the content is long or short. The editing time for that amount of content always takes their same time. After that, it comes to you as our client. You then take a look at it. You might have feedback. We might need to make corrections to that. Now, clients we work with on an ongoing basis, we tend to tune in, and that means that over time the number of corrections comes down because we've kind of got the style right. With new clients or someone we're only working with once, there may be more feedback at this stage. So then there's a factor of that editing and correcting and making it spot on. Now, one of the other things that makes Creative Words unique is our ability to do setup. So we don't just write the content, lob it over the wall at you, the client, and you have to end up working out how to get it set up on your system, or just being too busy to do that. We'll take care of that for you. And again, not everybody wants that. Some people have already got somebody doing it for them. So we have a setup factor. And then another step that we sometimes include and sometimes not, depending on what the client wants, is in situ checking. This is particularly the case of something that's going to print or something that's a brand new website. Is we will check the content on its pages to make sure it looks good. We will proofread something that's going for print so that there are no annoying spelling mistakes which will leap out at you the day you get the physical copy, even though every single time you reviewed it before then you didn't see the typo. That's one of the laws of typography, I'm afraid. So there is that final step. So that's taken you through all of those stages of the process. So what does all of that mean in terms of cost? Well, for us, we use time as our basis, and we charge an hourly rate, and different hourly rates for different types of project. So if we're doing an alchemy package, which is a regular monthly package, we charge less because of what I was saying about tuning in, and because people are making a commitment to us, so we make a commitment to them with a discount. But let's give you some recent quotes we've done, give you an idea about cost. Someone came to us and said, I've got a website I need content written for 4 pages. One of those was about 750 words and 3 of them were about 350 words. But we didn't do any setup. We simply handed that over to a web developer, and that cost £650. We did something where we were building a sales funnel for someone. We designed it, we wrote it, we built it. We did all the landing pages, we wrote the emails, and then we did follow-up emails as well, and that was £1,100. We did copy for a brochure, an A5 booklet, which was describing a service. It had about 40% images to 60% text. In print, that's a factor as well. That was £700. Pages for a website with team profiles. So team profiles are another thing that we do really well with websites, in that we help people get that information out of their team members so that you've got a consistent team profile for everybody on the page. So that was, again, a home page of about 750 words. That's our usual estimate. We did 2 other short pages. We did some text for some of the other pages, just little pieces of text here and there with other pages, and then dealing with those team profiles, and that was 650. So they give you some idea about cost. But if you want to know what your project might cost you, the best thing you can do is get in touch with us. So use the links in this post, or click on the messaging tool at the top of the page. Have a chat with us. We're happy to give you an idea about costing depending on your specific and unique needs. So that's it from me for this month. More of your questions answered next month. If you think this is something that would be helpful for anybody you know, then do, of course, share this post or tag them in the comments below. And we will be in touch again very soon. Have a golden afternoon.